So hi guys, VTech here. So Blueberry Hill. This is July 31st. Job and especially roofing guys weren't here last week. They had some jobs in San Antonio. I'm sure hoping they're coming this week to finish up. I think they need about another week before they're done. They got one major wall on the right side of the house, and then between the two raised roofs, short walls, to finish up that, and a couple of little trim pieces. So should go pretty quick, I hope. Anyway, a little more work for him. He mentioned he'd be here 2-3 days a week. That didn't happen last week, so not sure what happened, but he hadn't responded to my text just yet. We'll see what happens. Anyway, scheduling fun. Guess what I'm doing? Yeah, I'm starting the deck build out. I can't really do, I'm scared to do all big beams that I wanted to put in place because the dumpster will go kind of like right where that rod is, somewhere around here. It's not too critical where, but that's where it stops, and I want to put a beam right alongside it. So and the height's going to be I mean, I can measure, but I want to make sure I do it right. We want about a foot prone to the deck with the pool, so we can kind of sit on the edge and enjoy it. So I'm waiting for that. I know how deep it is, but I just want to make sure, and then kind of go off that. I'll have to make some stands off the containers. Everything's getting welded, so we'll make stands for the beams. I can do two beams right here. One's going right there, another one's going right there, and I measured it up yesterday. That should be pretty straightforward. I'm basically going to cut out a bunch of lines here. So this piece, this is the top, will sit right on here. That gets all welded, and I'm extending the bottom underneath, and that gets welded to somewhere here. I do have to be a little careful. I don't want to set anything on fire and stuff. Shouldn't be a big deal, but a bunch of welding should go pretty good. I'm going to cut one end off first. There's 4 of them here, so I'm going to do the ones that are closer to the house, and I can actually get to. So that was fun moving them around. They're a little bit too long to move them easy around here. But anyway, I'm going to cut them, and I'm going to switch to time lapse, and we'll just cut them, and hopefully I'll get them welded up today. Those two anyway. The third and the ones that come out here are going to be roughly 2 steps down, plus or minus. Again, dumpster's 5 feet deep, so I'm 5'6", so it'd be like, right here or something. And the deck would be probably about here. So whatever that turns out to be, I'll figure that out later, and make sure the steps are proper for safety. We want nice casual steps down, nothing big, very easy to walk on. Anyway, that's about it. I'm gonna switch over to time lapse. We'll continue from there. See ya. So here we go. We're gonna do installing the first few beams for the top layer of the deck. I have 4 beams back there. They're all 26 feet long, I believe. So I'm slotting them and cutting the ends off, and they're basically gonna sit on lips of the C channel that's on the container itself. Of course, I measured everything height-wise so that the door and the top of the deck are level, and I based everything off of that using 2x6 rafters and then 1-inch thick trex decking. So here I'm doing all the cutouts. I'm using the 1/32 inch cutoff wheel. Works fantastic. I go through those quite a bit, but they make a really nice clean cut. And plasma would probably be quicker and stuff, but then I'd have to clean it up. So I kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. Now, once I cut one end off, I actually measure up exactly what the length of the beam is. I have a digital measuring tool that works really well for this. It's exactly 1/32 or whatever. This doesn't have to be super tight, but anyway, I'm trying to be nice and precise so I don't have too much fill weld. Of course, at this time I have access here with the tractor, so I'm using any tool I can get. The beams are kind of heavy. Obviously, I can't lift one, but I can kind of pry on one side. But anyway, I'm cutting the ends off and using the tractor to lift it in place, and that's worked out really well. Just balance the beam out and then basically throw it in place. Grind all the paint and junk off, and then basically hang it on the outside of the C channels on the container. And now you see me positioning on the tractor. Now I'm going to lift it up, kind of wedge it, and stand it up the proper way, and then I'm going to just slide it in place basically. And I don't think I welded this day. I welded the day after. But in any case, this went pretty straightforward. As long as my cuts were true, everything was good, and turned out that way. So I was really happy. I apologize for the video. The sunlight was hitting, I think, the window, and it glared out the camera, so I didn't see that happening. But in any case, you kind of get an idea what I'm doing. And here I'm just bashing the I-beam in place where it's going to live. Everything's measured off the wall to be nice and square, you know, and set. And here I'll go with the second one, and we put that in place with the tractor again, and we're good to go. So as I was cutting the second beam, I didn't realize I was cutting the wrong end, so I was cutting the little offset on the wrong side. You can see the bolt plates right there. Those are the bottom. Obviously, I'm not going to stick those through the deck. Here you see when I stand up the beam, there's 2 sets of cuts. Yep, had to do that one twice, but live and learn, right? So, you know, next time I double check, make sure the top is the top and the bottom is the bottom. And I could have cut the plates off. I don't care. I'll just leave them on there. Less work. Whew, well, that was fun. It wasn't so bad, actually. I just had to cut the beams properly. I had to do take 2 on that one. I cut the wrong side first. That's good. It was over long, so I got them in place. They're notched. They're hanging, and thankfully I have the tractor, because there's no way to do that without some external help. So these are supposed to be level. I'll find that out tomorrow. I'm gonna weld them in place tomorrow, not today. But there you go. Beginning of the deck. Woohoo! Yeah. So here we go with the welding. I have a little level, make sure it's basically the beam standing straight up and down. Basically, you know, tie that in first, make sure it's level, then I start burning everything in. There's going to be basically, these are overkill beams, obviously, for what I'm doing. The thing is, they're free-ish, and they're going to be substantial for the deck. I don't have to put middle supports on anything because these are made for a commercial building. So anyway, good for me. Pretty easy stuff, just quick welding. I do, the welder's fantastic. It's a Miller, so it's kicking it in pretty good, and burning it in just nice. Whew, hi guys, we take here Blueberry Hill. So it's was it August 2nd? So some welding, yay! Finally, this is I look forward to this kind of stuff. So progress. Job and his boys aren't here again. I'm gonna have to text them again or whatever. I don't think they're going to show up all this week. I did confirm that the dumpster should be here on Friday. I'm waiting on a confirmation so I can order the giant forklift I got to rent, and we'll go from there. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll be back with some more. Hey guys, hey, I'm a little short of breath. So, guess what we got? Our pool's here. Woohoo! And our little 8K rental telehandler is doing its job. Don't go under there, guys. Anyway, so it's August 4th. They were really late in delivering. They showed up at 5:30, 5:45. So it's a pain in the ass trying to get the thing off the trailer, because they the strips underneath, the support strips. I have 6-foot long forks on the telehandler. However, they need to be like 7 to get both treads from one side of the thing to the other. So anyway, we dragged it off back, and then made it happen. So I'm gonna go through here, basically right where Riley is, go around a circle and just put it in place. So that's my next bit of work. I'm gonna leave it running regular speed, and then I'll speed it up if I have to. The tackle I have on it is 4 chains holding it up. They're all rated for 47 to 5,400 pounds. So I think I'm good to go. Let me find a spot for the camera. So moving this thing, I went really slow. I basically crawled the machine as almost as slow as it would go. You can see the double chains as this thing's passing by. There's 2 sets of chains on here that I use the forks to lift those up, and I can tilt it forward and backwards, so that worked out pretty good. And here I'm on, you know, kind of rough terrain. It's not like super smooth out there. So, and that's my dog barking in the background. Every time he hears beep beep, he starts barking. What do you know? Anyway, I was trying to go real slow. You can see it rocking back and forth. That's when I'm trying to get over rocks and little non-flat areas. So you have to gun the engine a little bit, and of course when you do that, you can make it rock more. Obviously I'm not going to fit this time. I go back and forth several times because this thing is 22 feet long. The machine is, I think it's like 15 feet long or something like that. So anyway, whiskey, quiet. Anyway, I made it in there. You can see me trying it several times. I don't think I taped the whole thing. There's a little lip I'm gonna have to get up on, so you're gonna see it rock. I do touch the tree a couple times. I can't see, by the way, from the machine. I don't know where the dumpster pretty much is. I'm looking, but I can't tell exactly where it is. So I have to kind of look, move around. Here, see me clearing a couple of rocks out of the way because I don't want to make the machine, you know, tilt over and stuff. You know, I relocated the camera to the side, and you know, as always, when you're filming something important, the battery gives up, so you're not going to see the full placement of it. But it worked out really well. The two kind of ruts you saw in the pad, I set this part that's the closest to the building, to the house, down first, and then I kind of tilted, moved over, slid over the dumpster to the rest of it, and I just dropped it in place, and everything was good. So here, see me trying to not hit that small little tree. So, you know, having fun with that. And you'll see it rock quite a bit because I'm going up a little berm, rocky berm, and that took a little bit of a little more throttle on that machine and stuff, so it was rocking pretty good. And I am close to the house. I had to get a little bit, and I don't say nervously close, but I didn't get, you know, not close. Let's put it that way. Anyway, I set the downside part down first once I get it in place, and then like I said, I kind of slide the rest of the dumpster over into the ruts, and that worked out really good. So almost there, and you're not going to see the full picture here, but you get the idea. I wasn't sure how far back I was, and now I'm going to because I have to undo the chains on the dumpster itself, so I have to get some wood, put it down there. When I set the dumpster down, I have to be able to pull the chains out somehow. So that's what I was doing right there. So here we go. I don't know if I did this a couple times because I wasn't sure how far back I was. So I tried to you saw me try to push on it. It wasn't going to move. So here I am. I want to put it right in the spot I want to put it in. So I was kind of being a little bit you know, detail oriented. But anyway, I figured it out. Everything worked out pretty good, and you will not see the final touchdown. So sorry. Hey guys, VDEC here, Blueberry Hill. So August 6th. Jake was here yesterday. We were doing little kickdowns. I call them kickdowns. They're actually supports. These are leftovers from C-channels that we put underneath the living room floor. I have a pile of them over there, so we're using them as the welded in supports for the next two beams I'm putting up. Actually, I'll use a lot of them. They don't have to be that long. I didn't feel like cutting them, so we just welded them up and off we went. They're going to be a bunch of those along the whole bottom of the containers, and then the main I-beams are going to be welded to that. So this will be I'm going to call it a superstructure. It'll be overkill for a deck, but I have the material and don't have to buy anything. So yay, that's a win in my book. Steel's expensive, wood's very expensive. I bought enough deck material the other day just to do the top section up here, and now it's a whopping $600. Nice. The 2x12s for stairs themselves to do the rise, the structural part, they're very expensive. They're $24 a hit for an 8-foot 2x12. It's ridiculous. Anyways, it is what it is. I got a few. I have enough to do full length stair across the whole thing, and we'll see how that all goes. Anyway, I'm gonna switch to time lapse. I'll cut these beams out, weld them up, and then I'll probably do a couple little other things later on today. It's gonna get warm. It's around noon, so it's starting to get nice and toasty again. Anyway, time lapse away. See ya. I'm working alone here. This is I think this is the 6th. So here I am just moving this beam out of the way, just so I can get the tractor in there and lift the beam that's right in front of the camera up. And then I'm going to cut the ends off, measure everything up, and then you see the kickdowns on the coming down from the container. Just butt joint right to it. I just have to move it in place, cut it. You can see me cutting it, and then I'm going to use the tractor to lift it up and put it in place. With one side's going to be with come-alongs, and the tractor's using the other side, so I can put it in place a lot easier. So that worked out pretty good. It wasn't that bad. The beam's not like terribly heavy, but you know, I definitely can't lift it very high off the ground, so that's the tractor doing that. I did have the welder on the left side of the thing, the area, So I was doing the welding on the left side, and then I had to drag the welder over to the other side and weld that side. I could have gone the stick. I just like the MIG a lot better. It's much cleaner, and you see all the dry grass around. Not cool. We had just FYI, we had a major fire in San Marcos on the 6th when Jake was here. It was a 400 acre fire that was a mile away from us and moved north. So we were lucky, but it was a huge fire. Tons of crews involved, etc., etc. I have a pretty good picture of the chaos, but anyway, we survived. Here I'm on the tractor side, so I'm just banging the thing in place. There we go. So I'm using cedar logs and junk. By the way, the camera died. I hate when that happens. So you didn't get a chance for me to see the first beam going up. Here's a second one. You can see the first beam's already up. This one is a lot easier to see. You see how I'm doing the come-alongs. I have a clamp on the C-channel on the container. I basically lift it up, put it in place, drag it up. I have two come-alongs, so they can take turns lifting the thing. And on the other side, the tractor's sitting there holding it up. So I'm not worried about it falling per se, but I still don't want to be underneath it if it does. And of course, then I'm putting the bolt plates that you see right there. That's on the bottom side of the beam. So I'm going to tilt it up in a few minutes. You'll see it on this side. There we go. And then I use the tractor to lift up. I square up the beam where it's supposed to be. And now I'm using the tractor to put it in place. That took me a little while to get this one because the tractor, it's not a very fine motion, so it goes quick. Anyway, now I'm welded up and everything's easy peasy. This was pretty straightforward. It's just super freaking hot. I think when I was doing this, I was taking breaks every probably about an hour, and this took me a few hours. By the way, you see that little fire right there? Yep, there you go. I just put it out. That's how fast that happens. It's hadn't rained for 2-3 months. It actually rained here a couple 3 weeks ago, but not enough to do anything. So I had the hose right there just in case. So here's August 8th. So I'm continuing doing the beams. I'm doing now the lower beams. We did a couple the other day. I'm doing one that's on the left side of the pool. Looking out the back door, and those just mean you put kicks down. I'm doing kind of like a cantilever setup, so I put two supports on the seat channels that are on the container already. Make sure everything's level and true. I'm gonna have to support the middle one because you can actually grab that and you got a bit of a leverage and you can make it move. So I'm gonna triangulate that, and then I basically just weld the big I-beam to these two pieces, and it's gonna be no supports near the pool, but just supported on the underneath the container itself. So this is the triangulated support, and this will stop it from doing any kind of rocking motion, etc. But anyway, you'll see in a minute how I put the beam up. That was fun. I'm working alone, and she's on a vacay, and Jake's working, so I'm trying to figure out how to do all this stuff by myself and not get dead. So anyway, tractor, I have access to this location, so it's great. That way I can position it pretty good. This is still a pain in the butt because the tractor, when you let it sit there for just a few seconds, it does kind of bleed off a tiny bit with the load on it. So it always seems to go down just a little bit, but enough to not make it level. So I struggled with it. Now you see me welding it up. I tack weld it once I have it level, and then I final weld it and get the tractor out of the way. Alright, the tractor out of the way, I'm going to finish weld all this and continue on with the other side. So it's, by the way, it is very hot. I believe this was around probably about 1 o'clock or something like that, or maybe around noonish. No, the shadows look like it shows a little bit past that, but anyway, it was getting pretty hot, so I'm taking breaks periodically, just so I don't get overheated and get burnt out. But anyway, pretty easy stuff. Once it was in place, tack welded, I continued no problem. So this is the right side of the pool. This was same kind of setup. I do two big kick downs, and then I'm going to put the beam welded to these things with gussets and stuff like that. I am spraying the ground. We had a fire here on the 6th, Saturday, when Jake was here, and it was a 300 acre fire that went north, thankfully. Everything is really dry, so I'm being cautious on that. Anyway, here's the beam going up. This was actually worked out pretty good. The middle come along actually makes it almost balanced, so it wasn't too hard. You'll see me struggle with the next couple of I-beams. I'll show you that, of course, in the next section. But once I got the come-alongs in place, started winching it up, everything kind of came together. It just took a little bit of time, and got her positioned and stuff, leveled, and in the right. This is the, let's see, this is still, yeah, this is the bottom, the main part of the deck. So it's what I call a lower section. That, you know, one step down. But anyway, I was trying to come up with different ways to support this. I had that board thinking I'd prop it up, but that would turn out to be a no-go. And I just decided to winch. So just playing around, and eventually I could put it in place and start welding her up. So this is time lapse. This all took you know, probably like 20 minutes or something like that to get it all up there. You see how many come-alongs I have. The ones on the left side, they're just basically balancing it, keeping it from tipping, and then the middle one is doing all the work. So I didn't need the piece of wood that's leaning on the dumpster. I just slowly started winching everything in place. You can actually see I released it right there, and I could actually hold it with one hand, so pretty easy. And then double measure, etc. Make sure it's level. Tack it in. There you go. So me welding it up, and then I start burning everything in solidly, and put a couple of gussets on the bottom, the front. Right where I'm working, right there, there's gonna be a big old gusset holding the I-beam up. So a lot of welding, not too bad though, and of course watering the ground as I went. You'll see a fire break out right underneath the front of the ladder there, no big deal. But anyway, everything's dry. Morning guys, so VTech here, Blueberry Hill. So this is August 9th. We did play the lottery for the 8th. We didn't win, obviously, in a different video. So much for that. But anyway, we're continuing our support, building the I-beams, putting them in place. These are the ones I'm putting in now. These are basically what I call the upper deck supports, and they're going to basically go. There's 3 of them, right here, in the middle, and then on the end, and they basically hang on the lip. So it's once I cut them. I'll be able to hang them by that lip once I get the beam shoved in there, and the backside will be welded up with some kind of support. I haven't figured that out yet, but I got all kinds of metal, so not a big deal. Anyway, I need 3 of those. I got 2 right here, and I'm using my fancy dancy dolly setup. I just drag it in there. It's not too bad. It's kind of hard getting the tractor under here because it's not the right height, so I'm doing it by hand, and then just winch it up with the come-alongs. I think you saw that in time lapse prior. So more of the same, and we're gonna switch over. Anyway, appreciate you guys watching. It's getting dark under here. It's about 9 o'clock, 9:30. I'm trying to beat the heat and get it while it's still shady over here. Around noon, 1 o'clock, this gets nice sun, so it gets fairly hot. But anyway, I'm gonna switch over to time lapse and continue later. So here's one way to get the beam in place. Use a dolly and just yank it up there. So I'm getting my workout done. I've been working out in the shop when it's 100 degrees with a fan, but this will do. I've been skipping my workouts because of that. But anyway, I'm just going to measure up and cut the beam so it'll hang on the seat channel on the container. So a little lip. And you saw that in a couple other beams that I put up, but here's another one. And this is just going to cantilever over the edge. Put some support. Actually, this won't need supports because it hangs on the lip, and then I weld it to the under seat channels under the floor. Initially I was going to cut the plate you see right there on the left. I was going to cut some of that off, then I changed my mind. I'm just going to put it in place and just weld the heck out of it. Saves me time. So you can see right there, there's the little recess that I cut out. Now I'm going to hoist it in place. This was kind of a pain in the butt because I don't have any leverage. It's not the come-alongs in the middle are not in the middle, so I had to work at that and make sure I could get it up there. So after a little struggle, you can see the come-alongs on the hanging over the dumpster. I tied them. There's little hooks on the cross pieces there, so I went to the other side of the dumpster, finally got some leverage and started yanking it in place, and that was perfect. So I had to get up there high enough where I couldn't reach it very nicely. And then you'll see in a few minutes I actually just yank it up there. So we'll see what happens. So I have it pretty much in place. Now I'm just going to lift up the end. I'm almost running, not quite time lapse, but here see me just lift it in place and just shove it over the lip, and it stays. So yay for that. And then I just kind of move it over, make sure it's level and true, and off we go. So Yay! Alright, so here's the small details. Make sure it's level and parallel with the other beams and at the right height, etc. And off I went. I actually, you won't see me weld it in place. Funny thing, like always, I ran out of welding wire, and typically I have another box, but I think I used a second box, so it's a spool of 11 pounds. So anyway, I had to run off and get that and get some gas as well for the MIG. So I treated it all up, I zinged it in place, and then I ran out of wire. So it is what it is. I quit working after that, of course, and then you'll see tomorrow I'll come back to it and burn it in totally, and then put in the other 2 beams. I might actually do one more beam, because I did the span work. You can do, it's 2x4, 2x6 joists. They can span up to 9 feet, so I might reconsider where I'm putting that. If it's not going to work, I'll put 2 more beams up, but I might be able to just put up 1. We'll see. Anyway, appreciate you guys watching this part. I'm going to probably end the video here. Maybe just put in a couple more minutes of putting in the other beams. They're just the same, just rinse and repeat kind of process that I call it, and getting it done. So this will finish off the right part of the pool for the main supports, and that's a big job done. Very happy with how it's coming out. It's going to be pretty nice. We like it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Later.